Hey, this is a video in a series, okay, but we're about to go retarded here because it's on bank, okay, in the financial playlist, but it's probably not the bank you were thinking of, okay? It's going to be a lot of banks of rivers and banks of canals, but we're doing it, okay? How about Genesis 41:17? Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream, I was standing on the bank of the Nile." Now that was Pharaoh's dream where there was 7 skinny cows and 7 fat cows, and the skinny cows ate the big fat ones, but they were still skinny. Joshua 3:15 talks about banks when he says, "And as they that bear the ark were come to the Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped into the brim of the water. For the Jordan floweth all his banks at the time of harvest." Ezekiel 47, I might just read that from here. He brought me back to the entrance of the temple where a stream came out from under the temple threshold and flowed eastward, since the temple faced east. The water flowed from under the right side of the temple, south of the altar, and he took me out by the north gate and led me right around outside as far as the outer east gate, where the water flowed out of the right-hand side. The man went to the east, holding his measuring line, and measured off 1,000 cubits, and he made me wade across the stream. The water reached my ankles. He measured off another 1,000, and he made me wade across the stream again, and the water reached my knees. He measured off another 1,000 and made me wade across again, and the water reached my waist. He measured off another 1,000. It was now a river which I could not cross. The stream had swollen and was now deep water, a river impossible to cross. He then said, "Do you see, Son of Man?" He took me further, then brought me back to the bank of the river. When I got back, there were many trees on each bank of the river, and he said, "This water flows east down to Arabah and to the sea, and flowing into the sea, it makes its waters wholesome. Wherever the rivers flow, all living creatures teeming in it will live. Fishes will be very plentiful, for wherever the water goes, it brings health and life, teems wherever the river flows. There will be fishermen on its banks. Fishing nets will be spread from En-gedi to Engalim. Fish will be as varied and as plentiful as the fish of the great sea. The marshes and lagoons, however, will not become wholesome. They will remain salt. Along the river on either bank will grow every kind of tree, fruit tree, with leaves that never wither, and the fruit that never fails, and they will bear new fruit every month, because this water comes from the sanctuary. All their fruit will be good to eat, and the leaves medicinal." Okay, that was Ezekiel 47. Luke 19:23 says, "Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, so that at my coming I might have required my own with usury?" Isaiah 8:7, "Now therefore, behold, the Lord bringeth upon the waters of the river strong and many, even the king of Assyria and all his glory, and he shall come up over all his channels and go over all his banks." 1 Chronicles 12:15, These are they that went over the Jordan in the first month when it had overflown all his banks, and they put to flight all of them of the valleys, both towards the east and towards the west. Deuteronomy 4:18, it says, from Aroer, which is by the bank of the river Arnon, even unto Mount Zion, which is Hermon, which is in Hermon. Joshua 12, Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and a ruler over Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half of Gilead, even into the river Jabbok, which is in the border of the children of Ammon. From Aroer, that is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, all the plain of Medeba and Dibon. Joshua 13:6, the coast was from Aroer, that is on the bank of the river Arnon, and the city in the midst of the river, and all the plain by Medeba. 2 Samuel 20, and they came and besieged him in Abel of Beth-Maachah, and they cast up a bank against the city, and it stood in the trench, and all the people that were with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. 2 Kings 2, he took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan. 2 Kings 19:32 and Isaiah 37:33 say the exact same thing. Therefore, thus saith the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into the city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shields, nor cast a bank against it. Daniel 8:16 says, I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, U-L-A-I, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. Okay, so Daniel 8, this is Daniel's vision of the ram and the goat. It's a vision that Daniel saw when he was in the citadel. He was at the Ulai Canal. He saw a ram on the bank of the canal with 2 horns, very high, but one was higher than the other. The higher one came up last. The ram was charging west, north, and south. He did whatever he pleased. No beast could stand against him. He became great. Then a goat came from the west, covering the whole face of the earth, and he was not touching the ground. The goat had a conspicuous horn between his eyes, and he ran at the ram and got close and broke the 2 horns. The ram had no power. No one could rescue the ram. The goat became exceedingly great, and his horn was broken. There came up 4 conspicuous horns towards the 4 winds of heaven. Out of one of them came a little horn, which grew exceedingly great towards the south, towards the east, and towards the glorious land. It grew great even to the host of heaven, and some of the host and some of the stars it threw down to the ground and trampled on them. It became great, even as great as the prince of the host. And the regular burnt offering was taken away from him, and the place of his sanctuary was overthrown, and a host will be given over to it together with the regular burnt offering because of the transgression, and it will throw truth to the ground. It will act and prosper. Then I heard a holy one speaking to another holy one, and said to the one who spoke, how long is the vision concerning the regular burnt offerings, the transgression that makes desolate, and the giving over of the sanctuary and the host to be trampled underfoot? And he said to me, for 2,300 evenings and mornings. Then the sanctuary shall be restored to its rightful state. Okay, the interpretation of the vision. When I, Daniel, seen the vision, I sought to understand it, and behold, there stood before me one having the appearance of a man, and I heard the man's voice between the banks of the Ulai, and it said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was frightened, and I fell on my face. But he said to me, understand, O son of man, that the vision is for the time of the end. And when he had spoken to me, I fell into a deep sleep, and my face to the ground. But he touched me, and he made me stand up, and he said, behold, I will make known to you what shall be of the latter end of the indignation, for it refers to the appointed time of the end. As for the ram that you saw with the two horns, these are the kings of Media and Persia, and the goat is the king of Greece. And the great horn between his eyes is the first king, and as for the horn that was broken, in the place of which the four others arose, 4 kingdoms shall arise from his nation, but not with his power. And at the latter end of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their limit, a king of bold face, who understands riddles, shall arise. His power shall be great, but not by his own power. He shall cause fearful destruction, and shall succeed in what he does, and destroy mighty men and the people who are the saints. By his cunning he shall make deceit prosper under his hand, and in his own mind he shall become great. Without warning he shall destroy many, and he shall even rise up against the prince of princes, and he shall be broken, but by no human hand. The vision of the evenings and the mornings that has been told is true. But seal up the vision, for it refers to many days from now. And then Daniel was sick for some days, and he woke up and did the king's business, and he was appalled by the vision. He said he didn't understand it. The time of the end, Daniel 12. At that time, Michael, the great prince who has charge of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never been, since there was a nation till the time. But at the time your people shall be delivered, every one whose name shall be found written in the book. Many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Those who are wise shall shine like the brightness of the sky above, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase.